There was a wall. It did not look important. It was built of uncut rocks, roughly mortared. An adult could look right over it, and even a child could climb it. Where it crossed the roadway, instead of having a gate, it degenerated into mere geometry, a line, an idea of boundary. But the idea was real. It was important. For 7 generations, there had been nothing in the world more important than that wall. Like all walls, it was ambiguous, two-faced. What was inside it and what was outside of it depended upon which side of it you were on. A boundary is a fence with a door that you build around yourself and your life, so that anyone who is throwing stones at you, those stones can't get in because there's a boundary. It can't get through. Yes? Stones in this case could be baseless criticisms and insults thrown at you from people who are outside of your boundary. Stones could be wild expectations that others may place upon you despite you having no desire to fulfill them. Stones look like cruel comments left for you on your social media. Someone pressuring you for sex or a commitment. The pressure to live up to a certain familial tradition, the resistance you face if you dare say no. When you build a boundary, you can place certain individuals, or better yet, certain behaviors outside of your boundary. You could even place certain words, ideas, or beliefs outside of your boundary. If somebody says something cruel and false about you, you can be like, this does not compute. You can refer to the reasons as to why these behaviors or this person is outside of your boundary. And if this specific person themselves is outside of your boundary, then their invalid critiques and requests can no longer penetrate. It's a simple concept, but one I only was able to learn through therapy. Boundaries are incredibly important because this is what filters out all the unnecessary behaviors and sometimes people in your life. It allows you the opportunity to watch others and how they act towards you from within your boundary before permitting them to even enter your life in the first place or to penetrate deeper. This refers to new people that you will meet, as well as individuals who are currently within your life. I'm speaking from experience here. One of my past bad habits was immediately opening up to new people, even though I didn't want to, because I thought that's what nice people do. I had a really bad case of suppressing my own desires to live up to the traditions and standards of my family. I had no real vetting process. Your personal boundaries, however, will allow you to weed out all the types of people that you don't want in your life, and more importantly, the types of behaviors that you will not tolerate. My therapist told me to try observing people from within my boundary, and he pitched this beautiful question to me. He asked me, when you're interacting with someone, are you focused on whether they like you or on whether or not you even like them? Most times, people, because we want to present ourselves well, especially on first dates or hangouts with friends or around family that we don't see often, normally, usually just around the holidays, we tend to view our social interactions from this lens. Is this person enjoying my company? Do they like me? Am I what they expected? Am I impressing them? How often do we actually stop the mental chatter for a moment to inquire on whether or not we even like this person or this group of people, on whether or not we would like to spend more time with this specific person? It's this simple question that influences our behavior towards this person and eventually towards all people. Having no boundaries is a habit that you build. You start doing things that are outside of your character to please them, and it may start small. During a car ride, are you always the one to take it upon yourself to fill the awkward silence, even though you genuinely don't want to speak? You have nothing to say. Are you always opening up to people who never asked for your whole backstory just because you think they'll feel a certain closeness with you? Maybe they'll like you more, maybe even grow to love you. Are you downplaying the fact that you have an accent? This was something that I struggled with at the beginning of this channel. I struggled to be open and honest about the fact that I do not always enunciate all of my words the way I'm supposed to. These former questions that I pitched a few seconds ago, they may have elusive answers. You have to observe yourself in interactions. Watch the role you automatically play in different social scenarios. Are you focused on being liked? Are you shoveling down sangrias when all you wanted was one whiskey sour, but everybody thought you're a sangria type of girl? That's a true story for me. Are you not ordering the dessert because nobody else is and you don't want to look bad? It's these little subconscious ways in which your boundary begins to develop holes in it, compromising the whole structure. And it begins with your incessant need to be liked rather than focusing on cultivating a circle that you like, as if your opinion didn't matter. My therapist calls this a porous boundary, a porous type of boundary. It's compromised. It's losing reliability. And for me, it started with trying to fit in at the expense of sacrificing my own tastes and values. He opened this topic for me, and then we went deeper into types of boundaries. Not to be mistaken with walls, a boundary has a door, which means people can leave and people can get in. There are many different types of boundaries that one may build for themselves, just like boxes in an attic. You don't put everything into one box. You organize your stuff according to relevance. You may have a sentimental box, a nostalgia box, and you wouldn't let just anyone have a look in that box. That honor has to be earned. Visualize it physically like that. You've got a mental boundary, you've got a time boundary, you've got an emotional boundary, and you've got a physical boundary. These are the basic boundaries. A mental boundary comprises of primarily subjects, as I understand it. For example, if you don't want to form an opinion on the political climate, you don't feel obligated to. You don't feel obligated to choose a side before you have one. If you don't feel like speaking negatively or positively about someone, you don't feel obligated to, even if that's what's being expected of you. A strong mental boundary preserves your opinions, values, and beliefs. These may change when you choose to change them, but not because you were ever bullied into it. A strong mental boundary can even protect your thoughts. You may not want to think about marriage and kids just because you're at a certain age. You may not want to ponder the deeper meanings of your social media comments, whether they be positive or negative. Your mental boundary protects your mental energy. Not only do they protect your thoughts and what you spend your time thinking on, but they protect your personal values, your personal opinions, ideas, and beliefs. these don't just change because someone tells you that they should change. They change when you choose to change them. A time boundary is simple, and it's how you spend your time. Some people may want all of your time or more of your time, an obscene amount of your time. And while this may seem flattering and sweet at first, if you don't have any real interest in or are unable to devote more of your time to this one person or this one activity, you do not feel obligated to. A time boundary can look something like muting your notifications at a certain time, requiring a sufficient period of time before agreeing to an engagement. Just 2 examples off the top of my head. Time is currency, and like your money, it needs to be spent wisely according to whatever you consider to honestly be wise. An emotional boundary is one of my favorites to upkeep. An emotional boundary is what keeps me feeling the way that I want to feel. I can see you trying to anger me, but I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to ignore you. You are a stranger after all. You're not even part of my life. I can tell you're trying to provoke me, but I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond with dignity and curiosity. Why are you trying to get my attention so badly? What would you really like to say? Something about you is triggering me. Let me just have a minute to check myself to understand why you've managed to emotionally move me. What does this say about me? What must I still have to work on? I'm not going to spew hatred at you for just existing. I'm going to respond and not react. I can feel that the mood in this room has gone a little sour, so let me just excuse myself or sit here and remain silent and enjoy my time here. I can tell that you really want me to feel the exact same way you feel about this situation, and while I understand and validate your feelings, I do not feel the same way you feel about this situation. So let me just be here for you and listen to you. I will observe you and share my perspective with you if you ask for it. By the way, these are all internal dialogues. You never say this to a person. They might not know what the hell you're talking about. The emotional boundary is important to me because it's what keeps all relationships healthy and beneficial for both parties. I am not trauma dumping on you and then feeling vulnerable and exposed later. And you're not pissing me off for the slightest wrong move that you didn't even know that you made. The physical boundary is another simple one. The first thing to come to mind is physical intimacy. If you don't want to have sex on date 1 or year 1, you don't feel pressured to. You are not obligated to. Perhaps this person just hasn't aroused you yet. If you want to take things further on date 1 and it's safe to do so, you do. It's your personal space, and no one should penetrate that without you allowing them to. Nor should anyone dictate to you when it's acceptable. It's your physical boundary, hun. If you don't want to be touched or hugged, you're not obligated to be touched or hugged. If you don't want to bring anyone home, you're not obligated to. He told me to journal out this process and make it simple. Write down all of the traits of myself and values that I would like to keep. Write down all of the traits and values of myself that I would like to enhance but have been repressed by my fear of dismissal. My everyday examples include, but are not limited to, I actually don't like gossiping. I feel like a bitch when I do, and honestly, it does bore me. I don't want marriage at this point in life. It just doesn't intrigue me. I'm sorry, I can't find the purpose of it yet for me. I won't share my dreams or plans with anyone just because they want me to. I will not talk about my past, not until I'm ready. Honestly, my past bores me. I value my alone time. In the evening, I will not go clubbing every week because I don't want to. I won't be the one to fill the silence with mindless dribble because most times I honestly don't have anything to say. Despite the tragedy my family faced on one Christmas, this is a new year and I want to try to be grateful for who's left. You will not anger me because I don't want to be angry. I don't like myself when I'm angry. I don't want you inside me. For some people, not in that way, at least. He told me to read that list twice a day or as often as I needed. Read that list so that I may not forget myself. And since I did that simple little thing, I have always remembered to uphold myself accurately and with acceptance. There was a wall. It did not look important. It was built of uncut rocks, roughly martyred. An adult could look right over it, and even a child could climb it. Where it crossed the roadway, instead of having a gate, it degenerated into mere geometry, a line, an idea of boundary. But the idea was real. It was important. For 7 generations, there had been nothing in the world more important than that wall. Like all walls, it was ambiguous, two-faced. What was inside it and what was outside of it depended upon which side of it you were on. Will you be judged? The possibility is high. May you lose some friends and, let's be honest, situationships along the way? Possibly. But if the day that you decide to hold yourself up and defend yourself and stand up for yourself as if you're worth something, you lose some people along the way, there is no loss. If you uphold everything you are, everything you value, maintain your authenticity, represent yourself accurately, answer only to yourself, hold yourself together, bring it in, you have nearly everything you need. I'm really not fibbing with that. It's a different type of enlightenment. It's a different type of confidence. It's a whole different type of self-love. Like that ambiguous wall, others can see what they see. They can see you as cold-hearted or reserved. They can see you as pretentious or dignified. It just depends on which side of the boundary they're on. But there's a reason for their position, yes? There's a reason why they're inside or outside. When you instill boundaries like this, all anxiety, social anxiety, washes away. No more second guessing yourself. You put yourself first as you expect others to do the same. You begin to live your life in a way that tells a new story. That's how deep boundaries can be. Like I hold on to the key to my house, you hold on to the keys to your peace, your space, your time, the key to yourself. They will not enter, not until you allow it. And when you allow it, it's because you respect them. You like them. You want them. You didn't give yourself away hoping they'd want you back. And with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I truly do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I trust you'll give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content just like this one. So, how did you like today's video, and what video would you like to see next? You let me know in the comment section down below. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Toodles.